Like capital expenditure is projected at 16.48 trillion, which is exclusive of transfers. Statutory transfers stand at 4.26 trillion. Sinking fund is projected at 430.27 billion. Total recurrent on non-debt is projected at 14.21 trillion. Special intervention for recurrent and capital is expected at 200 billion and 7 billion respectively. That the existing liabilities and debt obligations are largely responsible for increasing debt profile in the country. Most revenue-generated agencies violate the Fiscal Responsibility Act due to the lack of punitive provisions in the Act. Non-compliance with the Nigerian Export Supervision Scheme Act by relevant government agencies, specifically focusing on the inspection and monitoring of oil and gas exports as well as non-oil exports. Identify system gaps and irregularities in the operations of import duty exemption certificates, that the federal government ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as the government-owned enterprises, are not complying with the financial reporting standards. Recommendations.
We all know the volatility of oil prices. Thankfully, a lot of the driver of the economic growth in this country today has shifted from oil to non-oil resources. But then, the devil in the detail is that the non-oil component is made up more of service provision than the actual real sector investment that we are going to experience. Another problem that we should look at is what contribution really and what kind of investments are we making in the real sector of the economy? Some of these issues, I may be part of the problem because my committee is also involved. But because of the futuristic nature of the projections and the very lofty ideas that have informed the reform process, one will find it very difficult to really make substantive contributions unless these reforms mature and we start seeing, positive improvements. But we have to also hedge our bets. And by hedging the bets, we have seen the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria recently coming out with data that almost all the manufacturing companies in this country are recording negative returns, which means that the amount of taxes that we can get from CIT, company income taxes, are almost zero.
One, the projected oil benchmark prices at $75, $76.2, and 75.3 per barrel be approved for 2025, 2026, and 2027, respectively. The 3-year projections for domestic crude oil production had a significant increase from 1.78 million barrels per day in the preceding year to 2.06, 2.10, and 2.35 for the subsequent years of 2025, 2026, and 2027 be approved, subject to NMPCL confirmation of actual and verifiable deliveries. 3, that the National Assembly, through its committees on finance and other relevant committees, should carry out in-depth investigation of such agreements with a view to reconcile remittances to the Federation account from 2018 to 2024 in the case of NMPCL and NLNG from inception to date. The GDP, gross domestic product growth rate, which is projected at 4.6%, 4.4%, and 5.5% for years 2025, 2026, and 2027, respectively, be approved. 5, the projected exchange rate, which stands at 1,400 USD for year 2025, 2026, and 2027, be approved as a determinant for economic development in early 2025 will be determined by monetary and fiscal policy indices in the year in question.
The fact of the matter, even those agencies that seem to be in the front burner, like Federal Revenue, Customs, NNPC, it is really very difficult for members of the National Assembly to have accurate, verifiable revenue data from them. And that is because committees have no particular time in oversighting their committees. It is a one-year activity. But unfortunately, because of the way we are set up, we lack the mechanism to actually call these agencies to action. And while you call them to action to verify what they have submitted, you could clearly see they are underreporting the figures. They are not giving us the correct information, verifiable information. And at the end of the day, sir, I believe, even the bigger revenue-generating agencies, I believe strongly they are not reporting this into the National Assembly. It is not just about Finance Committee. I'm sure it has to do with almost all the committees of the National Assembly in particular. So what is disturbing is we must come up, Mr. President, to create a kind of mechanism, of a way out of making sure that where revenue-generating agencies refuse to report accurate information, verifiable information, then something has to give in. There must be a way of sanctioning some of them. Usually, when you see this 92, quite a number of them have been invited by the Public Accounts Committee. Not once, not 2 times, not 3 times, sometimes even some of them even 10 times. We found 2 refineries. One was commissioned in 1964, the other one in 1978. What is alarming that this projection is taking place on the refinery that was commissioned in 1964. That is the first one. When you go there, you know from the bottom of your heart that something is amiss in this country. You could see clearly there was an internal sabotage and external influence. And we made the contractor. And he told us, sir, that it is only in Nigeria that he has seen this anomaly happen. So far, he has dealt with the one that is the refinery that was commissioned in 1964. And he's on the one that was commissioned in 1978. And he talked about the mindset of Nigerians, the mindset of people, that as long as we allow people to have their interests over and above that of the country, we will never go far. And we raised issues of sustainability in the course of our assignment last week, and we were assured. We saw the petroleum coming, we saw petroleum being loaded, and I am sure it was all in the national decision. Now, what we must do, I'm sure it will be led by you, Mr. President, is to make sure that NNPC should have no excuse whatsoever in coming back to say they needed something or the other because we have seen production taking place. If they do that, that means we'll go back to the question of internal sabotage. Yes, going forward, the future is bright. We are having Port Harcourt running. And they said they had done 78% on Wari and Kaduna. So if by March or June next year, we are being able to put our refineries in action, plus
Dangote, then we need to see the exchange rate coming down.
Policy formulation is our job. Policy interrogation is our job. And that's what we are doing. The challenges to the Nigerian economy are not just about the pressure on our local currency because of oil, crude importation. That's a major factor, yes. Luckily, if the reports are confirmed, as Senator Abdullahi Yahya said, by at least the first quarter of next year, if God helps and we wash and beyond formal reports, if we see consistency and these refineries are actually producing as they are projected to, then at least by the first quarter, we should be able to see some significant reduction of pressure. But my colleagues, in this MTEF or in subsequent ones, or if we are to do an amendment, we need to find time to address the challenge of power generation. Power. Because if we can contain this issue of importation of refined products, the next two other challenges to our national life and economy especially is production of power.
You don't tell a blind man that they are short in the food he's eating, because he will test it. So the importance of this exercise is to juxtapose it to the cost of living as experienced by the Nigerian people, so that they will continue to be hopeful and flow with the government. So that when you say have patience, people have patience, knowing that with all these things we have just analyzed here, that hope is on the way. The other thing is that looking at the cost of services and petroleum products, because this one is the one that is affecting Nigerians, very hotly, the cost of petroleum and energy. I can say, Mr. President, that I am very happy, just like Ningi reported, that the Port Harcourt Refinery has come on stream. If you have ever followed my TV interviews and everything, from 8 Senate, I've continued to ask for revamping of our refineries. All the policies we're making to bring down prices, I've always seen that to have been illusionary unless our refineries come back on stream. Now, the breaking news of the Port Harcourt Refinery coming on stream and the loading reported at the base gave me very sound sleep.
Those in support that the entirety of the MTEF FSP as amended, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. So the Chairman, Committee on Finance, Chairman, Committee on National Planning, and all the members of the two committees and all those who took part in the exercise, we want to commend you for the in-depth analysis and the good job done in this document. And accordingly, the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has now passed the 2025 to 2027 medium-term expenditure framework, MTEF, and fiscal strategy paper for implementation by the federal government of Nigeria.